Hey everyone, this is Natasha from MakeupInSFC. Welcome back to my channel. So today we are doing this super easy, glowy, summery makeup look. It is sort of an updated foundation routine and kind of like my favorite products right now. So I wanted to show you all today in this video. I'm sorry the lighting is changing. I'm shooting with the natural lighting and I had my camera settings on automatic and now I have it on sunny. So if you notice a change in color, I swear it looks better in person. So I'm getting a new camera after this video and I will let you know how that works out. But bear with me, I just wanted to show you my updated foundation routine, kind of a summery go-to look. So if you're interested in watching, then please do so and I'll see you in my next video. Bye! So first we're going to prime our face. I usually prime with the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer Water or the e.l.f. Primer Mist, but I can't find either of those right now. So I'm going to be using the Reviva Labs. This is the Rose Water Facial Spray. It has aloe, herbs, minerals, and hyaluronic acid. It also has glycerin, which is kind of like Fix Plus from MAC. The only reason why I don't use this as often is because the spray nozzle is crap. We're going to spray that. It's a really good moisturizer for the face, and so that will just prep my skin and keep it moisturized for the more drier powder products that we're going to put on. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to prime, and so I always use a combination of these two. I have the Cover FX mattifying primer, and then I also have the poreless primer, so I use these all the time. So I use the mattifying primer mostly on the center of my face, areas that I may have zits popping up, which is usually my chin. Right here by my temples is somewhere I usually break out. And then I'll take the poreless primer and I'll put that and concentrate it on more of the areas where pores are just creeping in. So right here, pressing it by the cheeks, right by the nose, and just so I can smooth areas out. And I feel like they have a really moisturizing feel to them, so that when I glide my powder brush all over it, it doesn't drag, it doesn't snag, and I feel like it just goes that much smoother. Okay, because we are using powder products, we definitely want to make sure that we conceal beforehand. So let me go get my concealer. So my concealer of choice right now is my Maybelline Better Skin Concealer, and I'm going to use that and pretty much just use it under my eyes and just to highlight other places because we are not going to use any foundation to do so. So I concentrate that under my eye, and then I'll just pinpoint it on places that I want to conceal because the foundation is pretty much going to be one color. So I'll just make my little flower. Okay, so I'm going to take my Real Techniques Miracle Complexion Sponge and just pat all of this out. Sorry if the light changes. I'm using natural light today, so hopefully it won't be crazy. The next thing that I forgot to do, but I can still do it, is I'm going to use this Magic Lumi highlighter. Well, it's a light infusing primer, so I should have put this on before I did my concealer, but that's okay. So I'm just going to put that right here, like basically where I want the light to hit, but I'm mainly concentrating it on my cheekbones, and so that's just going to give me a glow. It just gives me a glow because it's kind of hard to keep a glow when you're using powder foundation. Before I go on to the foundation, I'm going to take my RCMA No Color powder and I'm going to set my under eye. So I'm just taking a little bit from the top and setting. I'm not baking or anything. I'm just pretty much using it because it doesn't have any color. And I'm using that on an e.l.f. blush brush. So the powder foundation I'm going to be using is the original bareMinerals foundation. And so this is a limited edition that I got at the outlet store. I don't know about you, but I know they say that there's SPF in it and it could expire, but I pretty much use it until it's done. And so this is something that I've had for a little while, and so I'm going to keep using it. I have the color medium tan, which I think is just a smidge too dark for me right now, but I'm not going to buy a new one until, you know, I finish it because there is so much of it. And I have it in the little cap like that. And I'm going to use the brush that came with it. I forget why it has this design. So they say swirl and tap, but I just load up the brush and try my best to keep it on there. So I like to take swirling motions and pretty much just buff that everywhere. I tried to avoid my under eye because I had used the translucent powder just so that I can keep that brightness under there. And the thing about the bareMinerals foundation is, like, the more that you buff it, the better it looks because you're warming up the product and melding it into the skin. So the next step for mineral foundation is that you set it with the mineral veil. And so I'm going to take this. This is Bare Essentials, but Bare Essentials and bareMinerals are one entity. So I'm going to take a little bit of that. I need to go get the pressed version because I take this little thing with me and it just spills everywhere. Now, my really good friend Katie, she wears this foundation every single day, and the great thing about it is that you can put it on without even looking because you're really just buffing it everywhere. And she does it while she's driving. Shh, don't tell. But it's just such an easy foundation that you just buff it on. So this is where we are so far. Okay, so now for bronzer. The bronzer that I love, love, love in the summer is the NARS Laguna bronzer. And so this one I've had for a while. I know that they came out with this again. So this is the Tahiti bronzer Laguna, but I saw in store today they still have this bronzer for this year. I'm going to take this Morphe. It's from a rose gold set that I got on Hotlook, but I think they have it on the Morphe website. I'm just going to take that to just bronze up the perimeter of my face. I think it's a really nice base for contouring because it just warms everything up. And it helps to blend in the contour shade that I'm going to use next. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to be using to contour my face is the Hoola Benefit Bronzer. This is an oldie but a goodie, and so I'm going to take that. This is just an angled blush brush. If you have a Bed Bath & Beyond, sometimes they have a cosmetic section, and so this is the Harmon, I think. It's like the generic brush line. So I'm going to take some of that Hoola bronzer and just tap my brush in it. I'm going to concentrate that more into the hollows of my cheek. Laguna has a little bit of a sheen to it, but Hoola is straight up matte. So I'm going up and down, and then using circular motions to buff it in. Take it down around here, and again up here. My baby hairs are ridiculous. I'm really excited about this. I'm going to be using the Becca Jaclyn Hill collaboration. Going to use the shade Pamplemousse. Pamplemousse. I've actually never heard anybody say that name. Everybody's been talking about Amaretto, which is the middle one, and Rosé Spritz. So it's one of the mineral blushes, and so I've been wanting to try the mineral. Why can't I say mineral? I've been wanting to try the mineral blushes. Then I'm going to take a little bit of Rosé Spritz. Sorry if that mirror is blinding you. I'm going to take a little bit of Rosé Spritz, which is this color right here. I'm going to put that on top. Okay, taking my Morphe M509, I'm going to take the highlighters here. So I'm going to be using, I'm going to try Prosecco Pop right here, just because it's new. It's got a nice gold sheen to it. Down the bridge of my nose. Cupids. Chin. Just to my brows. If you'd like to see a full brow tutorial, I have so many on my channel, so you can check that out. I primed my eyelids with my Wet n Wild eyeshadow primer. Now I'm going to set that with just a little, a little bit more RCMA powder. So now I'm going to take my itty bitty tiny Milani highlighter pencil, and I'm going to take that on a Royal. This is a soft grip. It's actually like an art brush, but it is basically like a flat eyeliner brush. So I'm going to take a little bit of that on the brush. I'm going to use that to clean up under my brows. I'm going to be using the Makeup Revolution I Heart Chocolate palette. You've seen this a ton of times on my channel. I'm going to take this eyeshadow right here to set under the brow. I'm just using this on a Morphe MB23. And I'm going to take that same brush and I'm going to use this light brown right here. Now for me, if you constantly see me with my eyebrows like high up in the air, it's because I'm trying to see where my crease is. And so when I lift my brows up and look down, I'm able to see where my crease is for my eye. And I just use the brush to guide over that bone. Okay, this is a Sigma E25 and I'm going to take this darker shade. It is kind of a like plummy tone, burgundy tone. I'm just going to take that right in the crease and outer corner. This is something that's just a little bit different than just your typical brown shade. So this just got dramatic quick. I'm going to take that bigger fluffing brush again with no additional product, and I'm just going to buff out the edges so that it looks a little bit more smoked out. Alright, now I'm going to take this e.l.f. flat eyeshadow brush. I'm going to go right into this pale gold right here. I'm going to put that all over the lid. I'm just putting a light wash of that over the lid, just because I want this to be a soft look. And then going back to that brush, I'm just going to blend out in between the edges. Bring a little bit of the leftover pink into that inner crease. I'm going to take this shimmery shade for the bottom. Now for the inner corner, I'm going to take that flat shader brush again, and I'm going to go into the lightest shade in the palette. It's kind of this white, pinkish toned color. Just going to take that in the inner corner. So I'm going to be using my CoverGirl Flamed Out Mascara. You guys know how much I love this stuff. I use it a ton. So I'm going to put mascara on my top and bottom lashes, and I'll be right back. So I just decided to use a little bit of Prosecco Pop on the eyelid, just because I wanted to try it. Eyes are done, face is done, cheeks are done, lips. So I've been toying with the idea of overlining my lips. So I've been using the Jordana Easy Liner for Lips in the shade Tawny. What I do is I just make my lips straight like this, and then I pretty much just like feather it on, just lightly correcting where my lips aren't as even. So I'm kind of making circular motions when I'm blending it in, so that it's not like a really harsh line. And I'm kind of making my bottom lip a little bit fuller by doing this. Now for the top of my lip, I only overdraw on this part because my Cupid's bow, I like where it's at. but just so that it matches the bottom lip, I'm just overlining just up until about here. And then as soon as I get to about here, I come back onto my natural lip line. And I'm going to fill in the whole lip. Now you want to make sure that you get into those little corners, like right here. Because it's actually such a pet peeve of mine when girls or guys don't fill in that part and the lips look disconnected. When you use lip liners, it actually makes the lip last longer. So this is really unnecessary. You don't have to do this, but I'm going to be using 2 lipsticks today. I'm going to be using a matte lipstick, and then I'm going to use a gloss on top of that. So the shade I'm going to be using is Abu Dhabi, which is much lighter than the lip liner that I put on. And it's going to make my lips look a little bit fuller. So I'm going to use that to fill in the center of my lips. And then I'm going to take this gloss, I'm just going to put that mainly in the center. And just looks super juicy. Juicy.